back to another video here on Free Will Photos. Today, ON1 released a newsletter. Now, if you didn't get this, I recommend that you do check your email, maybe even your spam mail. But we're going to jump into the computer and take a look at what just came out in the news release. So the first thing, if you got the email, it's titled Big News. It came out earlier today. The very first thing that's really impressive or exciting about this email is you get a look at the new version of ON1 Photo Raw that's coming out later this year. So we'll take a look at that. But I want to show you one last thing that's in this email. And it's actually this piece right here. Now, I know a lot of people in this community that watch my content and support my content. You guys have ideas and ways to make the program better. And some of you maybe even have technical skills to troubleshoot and test out later releases or upcoming releases of software for ON1. And I just wanted to share, they are opening the field to more people who would like to test out the software and try it out. So definitely check that out if that's something you're interested in. I just wanted to share that because I know that that's exciting for me. And I love working with companies that allow me to help them make the software something that I really want to use. And I think that's what ON1 is doing here. So I commend them for that. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the thing that I actually wanted to talk about today. All right, so here we are on the actual product page for the new release. And let me tell you, there's some exciting things and maybe not so exciting things, or at least things that I'm still trying to figure out. But if you followed that first link in the newsletter, it would have brought you to this particular page. And you could probably find it on the actual ON1 website. But there's a video here, and I think you should watch it. There's some really cool things of how it's supposed to be working. But what I'm going to do for this particular content is just scroll down, and we're going to take a look at some things. Now, there is a letter here from the ON1 president. And as I was starting to look at this, I said, you know what, let me just record this. So you're kind of taking in the first impressions of the next release of ON1 with me. So if that's something you're excited about, then, smash that like button. Let me know what you think about anything that I cover in this particular video. But I am going to skip over the letter from the president, or the message from the president of ON1, and just jump into the features, because I think that's what's most exciting. And here we have ON1 new features. Now, obviously, if you have a subscription to the ON1 everything, then you're going to be able to receive all of these updates that are coming in the fall. The other thing, upcoming versions of ON1 Photo Raw and new ON1 Photo Raw MAX. Now, I'm curious to see what this ON1 Photo Raw MAX is. I haven't read anything about it, but it does say it'll bring back the plug-in functionality to seamlessly use Photo Raw with other software like Photoshop, Lightroom, and Affinity Photo, offering an array of tools, including Develop Effects, Portrait AI, all the stuff that we already have in there. So what it sounds like is ON1 Photo Raw MAX is going to be the classic version of ON1. I think they heard the demand for everyone to have the plugins and be able to use the plugins that they want to use, or use ON1 Photo Raw as a plugin in their favorite software. So I think that's what the ON1 MAX is going to be, and I'm excited for that. That is extremely exciting. I think many people will be excited for that. So let's wait in anticipation for what that brings. Now, the other significant upgrade comes in newly enhanced user interface, a streamlined modern interface, improved workflow between managing and editing photos, And the AI recommended presets will allow you to edit smarter and faster. I'm not going to read over all of this stuff because I think it's more interesting to just get into the actual feature updates that they're going to be throwing out there. So there's going to be an intelligent color and tone with Brilliance AI. Now, in the video that I was alluding to earlier, it does actually showcase this Brilliance AI. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. We'll see when we actually use it, and when there's an opportunity to put it on some photos. Because one thing, and this isn't against ON1 or anyone else, but one thing that I've noticed in marketing is most people or most companies, they put really, really good photos on their new features. And then when you get them on your photos that may not be to the same caliber, right? Just being real, then the feature doesn't work the way that we expect it to. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, but I can appreciate that there's going to be this new tool that it says your photos will look like the scene you envisioned with the power of AI. Go beyond auto-tune and let AI set the color and tone without a one-size-fits-all algorithm. Now, if AI is behind this, there could be some saving grace. So we'll see. Then I already talked about it a little bit, but the ON1 MAX. And this is clearly just saying ON1 Photo Max utilize ON1 Photo Raw as a plugin with features like Develop Effects, Portrait AI, Sky Swap AI, No Noise AI, HDR. Again, all the stuff that we already have. I think it's just going to essentially revert back to what we were used to having with ON1 before they kind of split out the plugins. That's my take on this, or at least what I believe is happening with ON1 MAX. And maybe there will be something more with it. Again, it tells you what it's compatible with, and it even comes with 200 gigabytes of cloud storage plus 3 licenses or 3 activations. I think that's going to be kind of key. But again, we'll see how that works out. Obviously, pricing always plays a factor in decisions that are made. So the next thing is ultimate speed and performance upgrade. So, hey, look, we need ON1 to move faster. I know that when I open a RAW file, sometimes it takes a little while for it to load. And if we can get that to load a lot faster, I think that's going to be really, really exciting. Or I know that's going to be really exciting. So I look forward to that. Then there's AI recommended presets. Now, AI recommended presets, I'm not against. The challenge with presets is, how is this recommending them? Is this going through all of my preset categories? Because I have my own presets that I made. So how is it going to know which presets to kind of go find? And, that's where I don't know how I feel about that feature. I think it'll be cool, but we'll see how that gets implemented. What I'm ultimately trying to get at is I have some features, some presets that may not always be the best to recommend, or they may be perfect for the photo, but I'm relying on AI to go find that. Now, I'm not a naysayer on AI, but I'm also realistic, and I understand that AI has these learning models, right? Something has to feed it to tell it what to do. Machine learning, it can learn on its own, but I don't think AI is fully autonomous, at least to the best of my knowledge. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think about AI in the comment section, and, photography, because I know a lot of people think that AI is going to ruin photography. The next thing here is effects and presets. They always release new effects or presets. Presets, right? So we'll see how those come out. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But then they are updating the interface. Now, I think it was about 2 years ago, I was saying, like, man, I love using ON1, the way that I can get an edit out of my images using ON1 and how it's laid out. I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the way it looked. I thought it looked a little dated. Now it's looking a little bit more modern. In fact, I think some of the older versions of ON1 looked a little bit more modern than the current version. But I look forward to seeing this new user interface because it does look modern. It does look unique. It looks interesting. And we'll see how it works out. But that's just a cosmetic thing, right? What I really want to see is how everything is laid out and if it messes with the flow. Because right now there's a lot of space that's just being wasted in the user interface. And, hopefully the curves filter or effect will be able to resize with this interface when you drag the pane left or right. Let's see. You know what? We'll take a running poll. Let me know in the comment section below if you think that the curves filter will actually resize with the with the right pane as you move it. All right. Moving down the line, we have a seamless workflow for managing and editing. Now, I'm not sure if this is a new feature or what this is. Again, I feel like this is just what a staple of software should be. Like, I should have a seamless workflow from browsing in my catalog to getting to my edit. Lightroom has figured this out. Luminar Neo has figured this out. And to a degree, ON1 has figured this out. However, it just takes forever to open a photo, and forever may be an exaggeration. It takes a long time to open a photo, and I think part of it is due to the hard drive that you are pulling the information from. But when I use Luminar Neo or Lightroom, I don't have as hard of a time getting the file to open. So I think that is something to do with the catalog, and hopefully they're doing something behind the scenes to make that catalog more durable and readable, or you could read it a lot faster, or the computer can read it a lot faster. Then there's going to be improved highlight recovery. Now, recently with 2023.5, we got shadow recovery. So now we're getting the highlight recovery, which, that's kind of the full circle. We'll see how that works out. I think it'll be exciting, but here's the deal. Let me tell you, there's no software that's going to save your exposure. All right. Even if there is good highlight recovery, if you have a bad exposure in camera, especially when it comes to highlights, you get a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to shadows and things of that sort. But when it comes to highlights, if you overexpose, you bake those pixels. There's nothing for any software to really grab. Now, that's not me saying ON1 is, blowing smoke in our face saying that there's going to be highlight recovery, because there is a range that you can recover, and the way that it spreads, that recovery could be better. But you're not going to sit here and make your histogram all the way over to the right and then be like, oh yeah, I'll recover it in post. That's a terrible, terrible mindset and philosophy. So please pay attention to how you are exposing your image. And if you're using a mirrorless camera, then you got all that. Now, I'll get off of my soapbox and public service announcement when it comes to highlights, but let me know in the comments what you think about highlights. Then we have auto apply noise AI. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to do. It just says Brilliance. Brilliance AI can also identify noise in your photos and use the power of no noise AI to remove it intelligently. Okay, so that could be helpful, right? But I would like to be able to turn this off. And here's the reason why. There are some photos that I actually appreciate having noise in them because it gains a level of character that I may not be able to get if I just remove all of the noise. But I may want to use the Brilliance AI to do something. So this should be one of those things where you can turn it off or turn it on, or if it just automatically activates no noise AI, and then I can scroll down and turn that off. Even though that could get annoying, that could get annoying if it happens on more photos than you want it to happen on. And so that's one of those things. I'm not sure how I really feel about that as well. Only time will tell when we get the software in our hands and get to test it out and see how things go. The next thing is auto apply portrait retouching. Now, I think that this is good. All right. I'm okay with portrait AI being activated because portrait AI, for the most part, it does a good job. And if, when I was photographing a wedding or a birthday party or any event where there's a lot of people and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing all of the retouching for each individual each individual person, I really do appreciate portrait AI. So I look forward to having that particular capability. But again, it's all centered around that Brilliance AI. So I got to see how that works to really give a judgment on how I feel about that. But, it's not about how I feel personally. It's just, I'm giving my opinion. I always love to hear other people's opinions. Now, the next piece here is apply local adjustments automatically. And this says using the powerful Brilliance AI technology, easily detect regions in your photo and apply local adjustments automatically, such as darkening the sky or enhancing foliage with complete user control. Now, I like the last part of that, with complete user control. I think I can get behind this feature. And obviously, I'm going to cover each of these individually, but I could get behind that particular feature if it's applying it automatically. And then I can go and just change those. I think that's going to be good. So this Brilliance AI seems to be behind a whole lot of these updates and these edits. And then we have the layers pane. Now, I am a huge fan of using layers, and even more than not, I have been using layers on a lot of my edits, especially with my black and white work recently. I've been using a lot of layers, and I just really enjoy using them. That's my personal workflow. You don't have to use them, but I do enjoy it. So seeing that they're going to do something with the layers pane here does excite me. The layers pane in edit will be much improved. That's good. The height is adjustable. It will show settings applied to each layer, and switching layers will be faster and smoother. So this could be really, really helpful. And I could see that if I'm working with 3 or 4 layers and one of those layers has, let's say, a color adjustment or a color enhancer on it, and I'm like, okay, which one of these had that color enhancer? What I would like to see is if I do that and I rename that particular effect on the layer, will it show the name of the rename, or will it show the effect with the name that I put on it? Or will it show with just the effect straight out of the default name? That's where I think it would get confusing, because in the demo here, it just says dynamic contrast and vignette. And that's cool. But if I have like 3 or 4 color enhancers on a layer, and this is all adding to a particular look, either a color grade or something else that I'm doing with a photo, then being able to rename those things and see that I think that's important. Then we have batch adjustments with Brilliance AI. And, hate it or love it, batch processing is a thing. All right. And this is just saying use Brilliance AI in edit and browse, making it the perfect tool to batch prepare your photos before you start to work on them. Now, I have not used as much of the batch processing, even though I do in event photography. In my personal work, I don't. But when I'm producing for a client and I'm pushing out, hundreds of images, or at least I would say 40 images, because I'm not editing all 40 of those individually. Batch processing really does help out. And if there's an AI tool that isn't just going to be like AI auto, even though that does do a pretty good job. So I'm not bashing or knocking On1 for that AI auto. I actually like that. However, the Brilliance AI, if this is using some sort of deeper machine learning and it's actually getting in there and making some smart adjustments, I might be okay with that. And that'll save me a lot of time. Now, keyword AI enhancements. Let's take a look at this. Keyword AI can now identify regions, including skies, trees, water, snow, and more in landscapes, even without a central subject. It also suggests related keywords and integrates generated ones into XMP keywords for cross-app searchability. I feel like this is what On1 Keyword AI already did. So unless this is like actually picking out like on a person, if I can do hand, arm, elbow, shoulder, or like what Lightroom can do with face, and then you got ears and hair and lips and nose and whatever else it may be. There's probably not a nose in there, but you get the point. If I can do individual things like that, then I think that this would be cool. But again, that's keywords, and I don't know if that would be actual helpful. But if it can identify those things and turn it into a word, then it could potentially turn it into a mask, and that could be coming down the line. So I'm excited if they are enhancing their keyword AI or AI keyword, whatever. But until it turns into more comprehensive masks, I think that is just going to be as good as it has been, which is something I do use, but not as much as I thought I would. All right, so up next is the enhanced transform. When you make adjustments, the transform pane will auto crop or scale the photo. The transform tool will also support free transform so that you can move each corner of the image independently for the ultimate perspective adjustment. So I was staring at this enhanced transform, and I'm just trying to wrap my mind around that particular use. And I understand what it's doing, but I'm not entirely sure this is like a new feature, right? Essentially what I understand this to be doing, and we'll see how this works out, but whenever you click on the transform pane, it's going to auto crop or scale the photo. I don't know how many people use the transform pane, so let me know in the comment section below. I feel like that's one of those panes that I think if you're using it, then great. I'll hush my mouth, but I don't think many people are using the transform pane. So I'm not sure if that's something worth getting excited for, because if I want to crop my image, I'm going to use the crop tool, which I use that quite heavily. And I think that that's one of the more prominent and useful tools inside of On1. Not quite sure about this enhanced transform. I don't know. Let me know if you guys use that in the comment section, but I am not holding my breath for that one. Then we got searching capabilities. Now this is important because I do use On1 as my digital asset manager. And man, let me tell you, I need to be able to find my photos, and I like the interface, or at least the mock-up of the interface that they have here. So this one says the new search bar will significantly improve the way you can find photos. It is now located at the top of the window browse module. It also makes common searches easier by exposing things like faces, types, and edits. Now, this I'm actually excited for, because I have, and I'm sure many people do, even though I have good storage practices and cataloging and categorizing practices, I'm sure many of you also, like myself, have some photos that you just said, you know what, I don't even feel like categorizing or cataloging these. And being able to search those photos, which live on the same drive as the photos that I do have better organized. I would really like something like this, because the current search, I don't really care for the way that it works. And I use a dual monitor setup, so I have to drag the search bar over to my second monitor. And if I close that out, then I lose my entire search. I would love to, yeah. Hopefully this, whenever I open a photo or whenever a user opens a photo, it's not actually going to close out your search, because I may want to edit a photo and then hop out of that and then go back and edit another photo. So I would really, really appreciate this, and I'm excited for this, but we'll see how it actually gets delivered and how well it works, especially in tandem with faster RAW openings, or the opening a RAW file, how fast it opens a RAW file. All right, last two features here. Enhanced cataloging. Users will have more control over cataloged folders, easily control the preview size, scan frequency, CPU utilization, keyword AI scanning, and cloud sync publishing for each cataloged folder. Plus, we have made performance improvements to make cataloging up to 4 times faster. Now, cataloging, I could do a whole video about that. If you are curious about that, then just drop it in the comment section. Let me know. Hey, Chris, I'm curious about cataloging. I like to catalog now, but I thought the Smart Organize was going to help me get those photos that I just alluded to a little bit earlier. I thought that was going to help me get those photos into some sort of organization, and it didn't. So I have mixed feelings about this particular piece. If it works, that's great, but I'm a little skeptical at how this is going to work. So we'll just pause on that. And then the last one, this is exciting because, you know, it's a start. And it's proof that they are looking at revamping the use of text inside of ON1. And I make thumbnails. I use Affinity Photo right now. Text on its own layer is a big deal, especially if you want to mask it in and blend it with other things. In the former version, or the current version, I should say, you can't do that. So the text tool is moving to a new layer type, and that's exciting. I don't know what a new layer type means. Maybe there's going to be multiple layer types. We'll see. I have some ideas of other layer types, if that's what we're going to call them. But the text tool is moving to a new layer type. You will see each text block as a layer in the layers stack, and you can rasterize them to mask, blend, and apply effects filters to them. That is exactly what I was asking for. That's exactly what I've been asking for, and I'm excited. Having to rasterize it. Now, for those of you who don't know what rasterize means, just think of it as saying turn it into pixels, right? If this is going to exist, I'm assuming, in some sort of vector layer style, which means that it's unlimited scaling, or at least based off of the font that you have purchased or uploaded onto your computer. If you put it at, let's say, 800 points, I don't know why you would do that, but I guess in photography, that actually does make sense, because if you have a 3000 by 5000 image, and we're talking pixels, right? 800 point text isn't really that big in comparison to the thousands of pixels that you, or, millions if you're doing megapixels, right? 24, 35. And I mean, there's cameras out there with 60 megapixels and beyond. So I think that this is going to be interesting. And I think that's the reason why you have to rasterize it in order to blend the text. So I'm not going to take the thunder from ON1, because I think that that's going to be something that gets revealed. And I look forward to the way that gets revealed, because I love making my thumbnails, and I would love to not have to make them in Affinity Photo anymore. Nothing against Affinity Photo. I love the software. But if I can keep everything inside of ON1, that's just one more avenue, I guess you could say, that I'm exploring to really do everything inside of ON1, because I think I can. And with this new text layer, I think that'll be something. So I did go over all of these options, but here's some of the other things that are on the page, right? See if I can get this all inside of the window here. So ON1 Photo Raw MAX 2024, this is that one that's going to give you, essentially, it looks like everything, and it's going to come in a standalone license. License, own it outright. You can see that over here on the right-hand side. Then you also have a mobile version. I won't talk about the mobile version because I think that that still needs some work, at least in all of the times that I've tried to use it. Now, you will get the individual applications, standalone application / plugin. You know, that's the ON1 effects, the HDR, the portrait AI, the keyword AI, the resize AI, all that good stuff. You're still going to get that if you are on the subscription model. Now, if you don't like subscriptions, then just bypass that. But if you're on the subscription model, then you're still going to get it. So all is well. And then we have all future major updates and upgrades to the Photo Raw. You're going to get that. And understand the difference between an upgrade and an update. The best way that I can explain it is an upgrade is a new year version release. So we're on 2023.5. If you want to go to ON1 Photo Raw 2024, and I guess it's going to be called ON1 Photo Raw MAX. If you want to go to that, then that's going to be considered an upgrade because that's the new year release. However, if you get a 2024.1, 0.5, 0.10, whatever it may be, those are considered updates because it's still the same version number. It's just modified to have more information in it. And then all the other stuff, you can absolutely read this here if you want. But there is the cloud storage options. There is a 200 gigabyte storage for 1 year if you buy the Max outright, and you get 3 licenses for it. And then, of course, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I ran through everything as fast and as appropriate as I can for this product release page. I'd love to hear what you think about it down in the comment section below. What are you looking forward to based off of what's coming so far that's been announced? And as more of the sneak peek videos are released, then I'm going to cover those and bring them right here on the channel. So hopefully that's exciting. If it is, then great. Now, if you are looking to pick up this product, then I ask that you use my coupon code FreeWillPhotos20. It's going to save you 20% at checkout. No extra cost to you. I do make a small commission. But my battery light is blinking at me, so I got to sign out. Until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.